Robert Plank Show, episode 302: Blogging, Search Engine Optimization, Content Marketing, and Working from Home with Joseph Hogue. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. Our guest today is Joseph Hogue, and Joseph discovered that financial independence meant owning his own websites and making it more than a side hustle. And Joe launched 2 sites on personal finance and crowdfunding before launching 3 more on investing, debt, and making money. We're going to talk about lots of cool stuff. So Mr. Joe, how are things today?
I'm doing great, Robert. How are you?
Super fantastic. Just got a haircut about an hour ago, so that means life is good, right?
Excellent. Well, I shave, so I don't have to worry about that, I guess. So life is always fantastic.
Awesome. Every single day of the week. Perfect. So,
It's
so what is it that you do, and what makes you stand out, and what kind of has you excited these days?
well, just being an online entrepreneur, and I know that's probably cliche by now. We had all the big success stories in the 90s, but there's still a huge opportunity online. If you think about owning your own online assets, your own websites, it's really the Wild West. It's real estate development in a digital format. So I'm just rocking the websites out, learning every day, and just making a living.
Awesome. So the good old days are still here. It's not too late to make some of these websites and things. So, I mean, what kind of stuff do you have built up right now?
Well, like you said, I've got the 5 websites. I actually sold one last month, and we can get into a really important lesson I learned from that. But the 5 websites are personal finance, crowdfunding, investing, making money, just everything I like to talk about. And I found that a lot of bloggers they like to have one website where they talk about everything. Myself, I started learning about Google and how it ranks websites, how it ranks pages, and I didn't want to dilute one single website with everything that I like to talk about. So I started the 5 different websites. I get to address a very niche, very targeted market within each. People know what each website stands for. Google knows what it stands for, and I think it's just a great reader experience on each.
Awesome, makes a lot of sense, and you're right. I'm really curious to figure out a few things like how you sold this site and how you kind of managed all your time when it was spread those different ways. So, so those first couple sites that you made, so you made a personal finance and a crowdfunding site, and so like how did that happen? Did you have all 5 ideas ahead of time and you just made these 2, or like what were those first couple of sites like?
No, well, I knew back in 2011 that I just didn't enjoy the rat race, right? I was in my early 30s. I had never really enjoyed a job I had. After that 6-month honeymoon period where you love your work and then you figure out that this isn't what you wanted to be doing for the next 30 years. So I knew I wanted my own assets, my own financial independence, and I wanted to be doing what I wanted to do. So I went online, learned everything I could about websites, and found out that they don't make money. Not at first, anyway. Not for a long time. I refer back to a pro blogger survey of blogger incomes pretty often, and only about 15% of bloggers out there make more than a few thousand a month. So I knew the key was starting my own freelance projects. Gradually building into that, into those websites. So I started freelancing online, mostly writing, doing investment analysis, and that really gave me the time to develop my own websites and get them to where they were making money. So the first 2, a personal finance site called Pure Finance 101 and a crowdfunding site called Crowd 101. I started in 2014, and the personal finance site was everything. It was investing, it was making money, it was personal finance and debt. Everything that I wanted to talk about. The crowdfunding one, I had watched crowdfunding for a while and was really interested in both, the Kickstarter approach as well as crowdfunding investing, which was just starting to get popular. So I had a really good success with those. Really good through 2015. Doubled my traffic, doubled my monthly income every 6 months or so. But I found I found that I was putting everything onto that personal finance side. I was putting investing and retirement plan and everything. People were coming to the site for a specific need, and not being able to find other stuff. Somebody comes from Google for a retirement planning article that they found. But then they have to wade through debt management and personal finance and all kinds of other stuff to find something else they like. So I really looked at it and said, you know what? There's something to be said for having multiple sites that are more niche, that are more targeted. Besides just that user experience and obviously the Google factor there is websites make money differently. If you own more than one website, you'll find out that some do really well with affiliate sales, which is basically, promoting another company's product, and then you get a commission off of any sales. Some websites do really well with self-publishing. Some, there's about 4 or 5 income streams that really vary across websites. So the idea is to really diversify your income streams every month. If one falls back a little bit, then you've got 3 or 4 to rely on, and it's just a much more sound business model, I think, is what I've found anyway.
Awesome, and a lot of what you said there makes a lot of sense, and sort of what's clicking for me a lot in some of those stories. And you said that you maybe you had a lot of topics on the site, and you figured, okay, maybe I should kind of make a branches off on its own site, or that whole thing about how some sites made money different ways, like some on affiliate programs, some on ad stuff like that. It just all sounds like what we all need to do is put a bunch of stuff out there and take some action, and then look back at what people liked or what made money, as opposed to trying to plan it all out ourselves. It makes more sense to kind of try some stuff and then sort of 80-20 out what makes money and what doesn't.
What's working? Sure. And even with one site, it's very hard to know the game before you play it. It's you'll see some stuff just become a smash hit on your site without really even trying, and some stuff you'll just work your butt off and it'll get nowhere. So it's a little bit of a shotgun approach sometimes, but it does work. And it's I think it's a much more stable and robust way of doing things, rather than just doing one thing, hoping it does well, and basically what they say, the definition of insanity: just keep on doing that same thing and hope for different results.
Right, and that sort of incorrect way of doing things, it sounds like a lot of waiting, a lot of putting your eggs in one basket. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun. And so you said that, so you had these ideas for a couple of these sites, Pure Finance 101 and Crowd101.com, and while you were sort of building those up and those were picking up steam, you were doing like the freelance projects to make that immediate money. And so as far as like building the sites, I mean, how much were you putting into it? Was it like an hour or two a day, or did you have like goals for like a certain number of like pieces of content, or like what was sort of your strategy with building those sites up?
Well, websites it's a long-term project. It's something I spent, I think 20 or 30 hours a week, probably closer to 30 hours a week on the sites, and then I would do maybe another 20 hours a week freelancing. With the sites, you don't have to be perfect. You write up your design, some ideas. You write up some initial articles to put on there. But the big thing is just get it out there. I know a lot of bloggers, a lot of potential bloggers anyway, that get that analysis paralysis, where they spend so much time working on the idea and want it to be perfect, want it to be certain, want everything to be certain, then they never get around to actually doing it. And it isn't long before they just get demotivated, because they're really not making progress on something that hasn't really even started yet. So you really have to get it out there. Don't be afraid to tear everything down and build it back up after you get some feedback. But just get going.
Awesome, and I can really relate to that, especially that whole perfectionism aspect of it, where I might overthink stuff or overplan stuff, or spend a bunch of time proofreading a blog post like for the 5th time, and it's sort of a slippery slope, isn't it? Because it's like, well, on one hand I might spend hours and hours on one blog post, so then it better be good, and then I end up playing this sort of trick in my head of like, well, now I spent 5 hours on it, like what's 5 more hours? Or if I put it out there and it doesn't make any money, then that's like 5 hours wasted. And then there's the whole problem of, well, if I'm like thinking too far ahead, then it's almost like the outcome sort of plays itself out in my head. And then why even finish the blog post? Why even go to the site when I already imagined all these things happening? So I can totally relate to that perfectionism part. So, I mean, what was sort of like your routine like? Did you do the build up the sites like before you did your freelancing during the day, or did you like try to like get a certain number of posts pumped out per week, or what was that sort of routine like there?
Well, starting out, I was still working a full-time job until 2013. So really, until then, it was full-time during the day and freelancing at night, while I kind of developed some of the other ideas. I started the blogs in early 2014 after I had switched to full-time working from home. And I think one of the biggest things, especially as a new blogger, a new online entrepreneur, if you will, you have to keep that schedule. You have to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, work until 5 or 6. You have to have a schedule that kind of keeps you from being distracted. I know a lot of times it can be tough with something always on TV, or hey, I'll get up and get something to eat. But you really do need to have a set schedule that you can work on just to get stuff done and feel good about your workday. I mean, otherwise you're going to find yourself procrastinating about a lot of tasks. You're going to get distracted. You're not going to get them done, and then you just feel generally kind of shitty at night, right? Like you didn't get anything done, and that you're not progressing. But if you keep on a schedule, you actually formally write down what you're going to do that day, and check it off as you go. Then you'll feel good. You'll feel good about what you got done and how you're moving forward.
Awesome, really good advice to kind of avoid that cycle. And it sounds like it's really easy to get stuck in that sort of loop there, where like if we didn't take it seriously one day, then we had that kind of shitty at the end of the day feeling, and the next day it's like, well, what's the point? I didn't do much the day before, and then it seems like that can kind of catch up to us. But as far as like your actual like activities during the day, or during part of the day where you carved out time to work on these sites, like did you have any like sort of set time to write, and a set time for traffic, and a set time for like the social media and comments, or like any sort of method to the madness in that respect?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm up in the morning to get my son off to school. I usually get set back down to my computer at 7:30, and from 7:30 until about 10:30. So about 3 hours there, I just write. It's otherwise you're going to find yourself checking email, checking traffic real quick, maybe Facebook. Just the first thing you do in the morning, just write. Get some blog posts out there, or whatever you're working on. The big things, right? Your products, whatever. For another hour, maybe 10:30 for about half an hour, then I'll real quick head on online, check the stock market, how it's doing, check my website's traffic, make sure that everything looks like it's up and running. Maybe I'll reply to a few emails. Then I spend another half hour kind of blog commenting, sharing, really looking at what other people are doing, because within, especially blogging, but throughout kind of the online space, it's a community. You really need to have have that community that's going to be supporting you, sharing your stuff, and helping motivate you, because it can be a little solitary if you're just sitting at your desk alone all day. And then the afternoons are another 2 or 3 hour block of just writing products, that kind of thing, and then top it off with maybe an hour or two of some reading on blogging, kind of research kind of thing, as well as looking at different monetization strategies. Like I said, each blog makes money differently. So you're going to be looking at, okay, what are some new affiliates out there that I can promote? What are some product ideas that I've had that I want to develop a little bit more? Stuff like that.
Awesome. So
So
so 3 hours in the morning writing, and then that little break of half an hour of like checking emails and things. Another half an hour of blog commenting and sharing, and then afternoon time is writing, making products, and then sort of like later afternoon, an hour or two of reading and research and looking into monetization and stuff like that.
sure. Yep. Yep. And I do that. I do that probably 3 days, maybe 4 days a week, and then another 2 or 3 days a week. I usually work about 6 days a week. But the Saturday or Sunday work day is, 3 or 4 hours. I'll kind of have a movie in the background just so it feels not quite like I'm working, but I am actually working. But yeah, 3 or 4 days a week doing that, and then another 2 days just spent on SEO. Link building, outreach, because it's so important. I think a lot of people avoid it, and it's really one of the keys, I think, to being successful online that a lot of people don't realize.
So link building and outreach, what does that mean exactly?
Okay. Well, if you're online, you're getting seen through Google, right? Google search is going to be probably half or more of your website traffic, whether you are, billion dollar JC Penney struggling with traditional retail, or just somebody with a small blog. Now, how you get that Google search traffic is you rank, and you do that that search engine optimization is what it's called, SEO. Now, there's two parts. There's one part is on page, which is basically just how you write your articles, where you put the keywords, how you structure your articles, so Google knows a little bit better, a little easier what that article is about and where it belongs in their search traffic. And then the other part is off-page SEO, and that's really getting those links, getting people to notice your content, your articles, and providing a link to it. And that just gives it kind of that search, that authority with Google. And that's really the part that I think a lot of people avoid. I've seen a lot of bloggers just break their back on content, writing every day, really pushing their articles, trying to get one a day or two or three a week, and they really slowly get nowhere. And then I know a lot of bloggers that post maybe once or twice a month and constantly see higher traffic because they have an SEO strategy where they know how to go out there, get links on other blogs or on other websites, and really develop that side of the business.
Awesome. And then so what sort of things should bloggers and business owners be doing to get those links, to get that traffic from off their site? Because I've seen some bloggers like buy banner ads and things. I've seen like some sort of like text link networks and stuff. I've been like spam. I pretty much get spammed on my contact form a couple times a day with someone like offering to post some sort of generic cookie cutter article. So like, what sort of things should people be doing to get this traffic and get these links back to their sites?
Sure. Well, it's a process, and I mean I can run through kind of the details and the outline. I've actually wrote a book on Google SEO, but it starts with that keyword research. So what do you want Google to see that article for? And that goes through a whole mini process there. That's about 10 or 15 minutes of finding those keywords that that you can actually rank for. Because okay, if I'm writing about real estate investing, I'm never going to get on Google for that. It's going to be Huffington Post, Entrepreneur, Bigger Pockets, that kind of thing. And I'm going to be on the fourth or fifth page, and nobody's going to read it. So I want to find a keyword that's related to that I can write this article around and actually get on that first page of Google. So it starts with that. It starts with, like I said, that on-page SEO, where how you write the article and how you position it, really. And a lot of this is all available on my Make Money Online blog, which is myworkfromhomemoney.com. If you go into the blogging category, you'll find all kinds of articles on these. But after you've written your article is really where the off-page SEO starts, and it's really about getting that article in front of people in different ways. One of those ways is just kind of creating a 2-minute summary video about it that you put on YouTube, or creating a short audio clip of it, or a PDF that summarizes it. All these things can be done in 2 or 3 minutes, and posted different places on the web. Okay, so people are going to see it, people are going to get interested, go back to your site, and then that's just increases the chance that they're going to link to it. But there's also other link building strategies. Guest posting is a real popular one, but takes forever. Basically you're offering to write content for other people, and then they give you a link back to your site. It's effective, but it takes 2 or 3 hours each post. So who wants to do that? What you want to do, the scalable link building strategies, the ones where you can get 5 or 6 links for an hour's worth of work. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. You go broken link building, and we can get into a lot of these strategies if you like. But basically, it's just getting your article in front of people, getting them to notice it, and provide that link.
Awesome. Well, we don't have time to really go through a lot of stuff, but this whole broken link building idea, that's something I've never heard of, and I'm really curious. So, what is that broken link building exactly?
Okay, well, web's been around for what, 25 years? Seems like a lot longer than that, but websites go down every day. There's about a billion. There's been about a billion websites for the last few years. That number stays pretty even, just because so many go down and so many get deleted. Well, if anybody is linking to one of those broken websites, or even an article on a live website that's now broken, then that link is going to go nowhere, right? And most people, you've seen this. You click on a link online, and you go to a page, and it says, "I'm sorry, this page is missing," or 404 not found, right? Well, broken link building is about finding those pages that are broken, and then matching them up with stuff on your site that can be used as a replacement. So say I find a page about understanding your credit score, and it's broken. It used to be there. A bunch of people are linking to it, but it goes nowhere. So I've got a page about understanding your credit score that I want to promote, that I want to get ranked in Google search. So I reach out to these people. I say, hey, I just noticed you've got a link on your site that goes nowhere. Somebody's clicking on it and getting frustrated because they're not finding anything. I've got this other great post. It's got to be a quality post because they're not going to link to it if it's trash. But you just suggest, I've got this other great post that you might be able to, just switch the link to. And it's a really effective way. There's a lot of other link building strategies that are less effective, because it's basically just, hey, check out my post. I think it's really great. But this one, people have to change their dead links, their 404 links, because Google hates, when you've got a broken link on your website. Readers hate it because, it does them no good. So you're really helping the other blogger out. You're helping yourself out by maybe getting your link replaced with the old one on there. So it's really effective.
Yeah, and that's super awesome. I hadn't even thought about doing any of that before. And so, is there an easy way to find those broken links? Is there a software tool of some kind?
Easy, not really. It's one of the more effective and one of the best link building strategies, but it does take some work. There's some tools that I use. One is Screaming Frog, and that's kind of a software you can download. They've got a free trial, or a free software that you can use, or it's like 170 a year. Which actually isn't bad considering what it does. You can do a lot of content auditing of your own sites just to make sure everything's working, make sure everything is looking how you want it to work. But you can also basically it scans the internet for stuff. So you download a bunch of websites, the website URL to it, and it'll scan those websites and tell you if links are broken, tell you a lot of things about them. I also use Ahrefs, which is Ahrefs. It's really a all-in-one SEO website that will tell you a lot of information about your website as well as other ones. And they've got a couple tabs on there where they'll show you all the broken links on a specific website. Buzzstream is another website, Buzz Stream. And it's really an outreach tool. It makes emailing other bloggers or other sites really easy. So that's kind of the three tools I use for general link building as well as broken link building.
Awesome. So Screaming Frog, Ahrefs, and BuzzStream. And so we're like I said, we're starting to sort of run out of time. But I'm really curious, like out of all these past years that you spent, building your site and selling that one site in particular, have you seen like a number one mistake, or was there a mistake that you made that's just you just wish you could go back in time and avoid that whole thing?
Oh, wow. Number one mistake? No, there's lots of them, and everybody has mistakes. One is really the reason why I sold this site last month. I bought it a year ago. It seemed like a really great site. It was in dating and relationships, right? And they always say, what do they say? The way to make money online is health, wealth, and romance, right? Those three categories. So it was a great site, lots of traffic. I thought I could, do a little bit better making money on it than the previous owner. So I snatched it up. It was only $500. And what I found is that, yeah, I could increase traffic. I could make a little bit more money out of it, but I was miserable. I didn't want to write about dating and relationships. I've been married for almost 8 years. What do I care about dating? So, every time I sat down to do something to develop a product or just to write for the site, I was just, I just procrastinated. I put it off. And that's one thing that you have to do in the online space. You have to have a passion. You have to start with a passion for the subject, because the money isn't going to be there immediately, and it's going to grow slowly over time. But you're going to be writing, you're going to be talking about this topic for a long time, and you really have to enjoy writing about it. You have to enjoy being, an influencer in that space. So it has to start with whatever you choose. It has to start with a passion. Otherwise, just stick with a traditional 9 to 5 job that maybe you don't enjoy, but it's a stable paycheck. Another mistake I see a lot of people do is just thinking that blogging or being online is just about content. Writing. An online business is just that. It's a business, and you have all those other little parts of that you have to learn what those are. What kind of products make money online. How do you make money? So that sales kind of side. We've already talked about the SEO importance and that side of the business. You've also got the outreach business part in social media and kind of that communications department that you have to have in your business. So it's if you start your own websites, you work for yourself. It's not like you're not still working for a business, and you have to do every part of that business. You can't avoid any particular part. I see a lot of bloggers just actively avoiding doing any kind of SEO, and where would any traditional business be if one whole department just went away and nobody ever did anything with it? So you really have to have that full business model with your online stuff.
Awesome. That's really maybe hard to hear advice for some people, but I think really important advice just as far as those two things. Have a passion, because it's one thing to be in a job that you hate because, well, you can kind of suck it up for a few hours in the day and get paid. It's one thing to be a freelancer for someone else because, again, you get paid right away and you can always, quit that freelancing gig. But when it's sort of you're in business for yourself and you don't have that passion, sort of a scary place to be because, as you said, especially with blogging, the money doesn't pick up right away. And just as far as like, treating your business like a business, I mean, such an important lesson because I'm sure you've seen other internet marketers, entrepreneurs, bloggers, whoever, just like this, who they think, like you said, they think oh, I can just write and it'll just spread by word of mouth. People will find me. I won't do any SEO, and it's like, well, okay, well, have fun, making things way a lot more harder than they have to be. So a lot of good stuff there. Treat your business like a business and have a passion for that thing. Don't just think you're gonna stick it out and talk and blog about dating when you've been married for 8 years. Talk about something when you have an actual business interest. So good stuff. And we've talked about a lot of stuff in this call. We mentioned a few URLs. So after someone listens to our talk today, I mean, out of all the websites we talked about, are there like one or two that they should go to, or do you feel like listing them all, or one in particular, or like what are your thoughts as far as after someone listens to us today, what sort of website should they go to?
Well, I think the first one that people should visit if they have, if they have that drive, if they have that passion for creating their own business online, for doing something online that's going to be theirs, and is going to keep on producing a monthly income, then go to the Making Money Online website. It's myworkfromhomemoney.com. And most of it's mostly covering blogging, writing for a website, and how to make money on a website. But I also cover Amazon FBA, self-publishing, and a lot of other income streams. So that's really going to get you started on developing your idea. What part of online do you want to make money in? It's going to help you get started and really go with that niche.
Awesome, great stuff. So everyone should go right now to myworkfromhomemoney.com, and while you're there, join the community there and fill out your name and email address so that you can hop on Joseph's list. And then, like Joseph said, click around on that site and look at the FBA stuff or the affiliate stuff or the Kindle stuff or whatever excites you. That way you can sort of drill down into your area of expertise and read some cool articles and see what it is that you can start doing to kind of amplify that little one tiny area where maybe you've been a jack of all trades and it's time to become a specialist. So go to myworkfromhomemoney.com, join that list, read a couple articles, and then I'm sure once you get it narrowed down to something like Amazon FBA, you'll be able to buy something from Joe, or Joe will at least link you to some sort of resource to expand more in whatever that subtopic is. So lots of fun today, lots of cool stuff. People should listen to today's episode 2 or 3 times to get all those insights on page and off page SEO and Joseph's daily routine and just everything about that entrepreneurial mindset. So make sure to re-listen to this episode and go to myworkfromhomemoney.com. And thanks so much, Joe, for stopping by and sharing what you had to share with us today.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Anytime.
We really appreciate you listening to today's episode of The Robert Plank Show. Subscribe to us on iTunes and rate and review us at robertplank.com/iTunes.